Good morning, my people. How y'all doing, family? It is another Monday morning, and I made the executive decision. I had to scrap the streaming service that I was going to use. I said, well, it's been going well with just the live version of Facebook, that software. So I said, well, we'll just stick with that. Well, this morning, I know you see the title of the live, Ungrateful. I had an experience yesterday, y'all, that was kind of unnerving, I should say. Ooh, kind of heated me up a little bit. I was at a customer's home. It was an older lady now. And she had a television that she wanted me to mount on the wall. She had just got a TV. She was excited. I told her, I said, well, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of everything. We got you. So now, in the midst of us getting everything together for her, she gets a phone call, and it's from her granddaughter. And her granddaughter is inquiring about a certain dress that she wants to get for her, for her great-granddaughter. And so she asked her what the price of the dress was, and she told her, and she said, no, she said, that's a little bit too much there now. That's a little bit too much. And so the grandchild got a little bit upset. And you could tell because she put the phone on speakerphone. Older ones do that for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, as time went on, she got off the phone with her, and then we talked a little bit more. And then she was missing a part that she needed. There's a part that goes to her Fire Stick. It's an extender that, it's for tight corners. If you got a TV that you can't necessarily get to the HDMI port for that. So let me stop rambling to get to the point. Well, the grandmother called back. She called her granddaughter and said, well, look, can you go by Best Buy and pick this part up for me? And so the girl went into a frenzy. Y'all should have heard her. This is her grandmother. She went into a frenzy. I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to go get it, and I'm ready to come home. And just a whole slew of things she said. And I had to pause for a minute. I said, man, this your grandma. That's what I was thinking to myself. And so when she got off the phone, it would appear now, just from the way her grandma spoke, her grandma was the person that raised her, right? Not her mother, her grandmother was the one that raised her. And just to hear the way that she spoke to her grandmother. And I was thinking to myself, growing up, if I had spoke to my grandmother in that fashion, I don't care what age I was, I'd have been picking my teeth up. I'd been counting them first, and then I'd be picking them up to try to get them together. Because now, hey, one thing about it in our family, that's something you had to have. You had to have respect. And you're just not going to talk any kind of way to individuals that's your elder. And so that's what I was thinking about. Now, you think about the level of, it has to be some deep-seated hatred for her grandmother. How could you hate somebody and they were the one that raised you? She raised this girl. It wasn't her daughter, it was her granddaughter. And she raised this girl. And the way she went on talking about her grandmother, it just prompted me to do that this morning, to talk about that with y'all. Because think about this, man. Think about this just for a second. Parents, grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, whoever they are, whoever has a part in raising you, they are, look, I got a lot of people this morning. How y'all doing? Kevin? They got my sister Susan, but they are engaged in seeing that you make something of yourself. They're investing in you. They're putting time and effort and a lot of resources in you. And sometimes individuals take those resources, they grow up, and then they go off and pretend nobody did anything for them. Nobody did a single solitary thing for me. I did this all on my own. And that's just absolutely not the truth. It can't be the truth. How did you get from being a baby to being a grown-up if nobody helped you along the way? You see, that's just ridiculous. And so I was thinking, I said, now, if the tables had been turned, right? And it was something that she needed her grandmother to do, she would not have hesitated. Whatever it was that she needed, she would have came to her aid, she would have gave her that assistance, and she wouldn't have said anything about it. But now, you see people, and that's what they do. That's what they do. You do the best that you possibly can for them, And a lot of times, because of you, they're in a better situation in life. And they can't simply show some gratitude. Now, this lady, I know she had to be in her 60s. Now, she didn't look like it, but she absolutely was. She was in her 60s, right? And this girl probably was 20, maybe 25, from my estimation. And like I mentioned, the way she spoke to her grandmother, man, nobody who was standing around could have just took that lightly. Nobody, because it was ridiculous. It really was. And it just made me think. It made me think, man, I had to go back over, my life, and I thought about some of the instances that I've been in. Now, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to say, okay, well, things between me and my mother have always been perfect. No, I can't tell you things between me and my dad have always been perfect. But here's the thing. As you get older, I think you gain clarity. And what I mean by that is you begin to see things from the way that your parents saw them. You begin to experience some of the challenges that your parents experienced. You begin to have to fight with bills. You begin to have to fight with children. You begin to have to fight with the outside world to bring in the resources that you need to keep your family going. You have to, all that stuff that's difficult. That's difficult. And then on top of that, not only were they able to, surmount all those obstacles in front of them, then they had to surmount the obstacles that dealt with you. Maybe some of the emotional difficulties that you were going through. Some of the things that you needed that may have been more than what their resources would allow, they still made a way for you to get it. And your reaction to this situation is to say, hey, I don't care. I'm not concerned at all. I'm just going to continue to do what I've been doing. And I think that shows a real lack of appreciation, because it's hard out here. It's hard to do anything nowadays. Hard to go to work, hard to be a parent, hard to take care of any responsibilities that you have. And our parents who brought us in here and made sure we was okay, like my mom always say, you always have food to eat, clothes to put on, and a roof over your head. If you have that, if somebody did enough to provide that for you, man, you should be grateful. You should be thankful, because I have friends that I went to college with who didn't know their parents. They didn't know. They were adopted. But you have somebody that was standing up when you got sick. They made sure you got the necessary medicine. When something happened to you, maybe you fell and skinned your knee or you hurt yourself, they were there to make sure you was okay. And you can't simply speak to them with respect. This girl didn't have any respect for her grandmother. None. And I guarantee you that, like I mentioned, her grandmother, the type of person that she was, it was a situation where if that girl needed any kind of help, her grandmother would have been there. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because it was just her mannerisms. She had a mannerism that was very nice. It was very nurturing. And I appreciated being in her presence. I really did. Because it reminded me so much of my grandmother. But that's inexcusable. It's just inexcusable. And I understand now, listen, because my mother's 70, so I understand that at times they can draw on your patience a little bit. I understand that. I understand at times that they can make situations more complicated than they need to be. I understand all that. And look, I'm making full disclosure that that's possible. But at the same time, don't they deserve a little grace? Don't they deserve a little bit more patience from us? Because, hey, they were patient with us when things were going on with us. They didn't give up on us. They're the reason why we're here today. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, it as you can tell now, it kind of rattled me. Because I had never seen anything like that before. I'm used to being around people who are respectful to the utmost. They respect the people around them, but especially their elders. That's what I'm used to. And so, when that conversation started, I was like, and then after it was over, I did my best to try to, lighten the mood. I cracked a few jokes. I did my best to try to make the grandmother feel better about what had just happened. Now, we got to do better than that, y'all. I'm just saying, man. That's one of the things I think our ethnic group, our community is really lacking. Respect for one another. Now, just because the individual is older than you, okay, you might be saying, well, I don't owe them respect just because they're older than me. But think about this. they've experienced more in life, and if you use respect toward them, then maybe they can teach you something. Because that's the right thing to do. You step out on your best foot. When you say, okay, I'm gonna respect you because of your age, and then that respect leads to a good relationship with them. If they're any kind of person, if they have any kind of, let's say, manners about themselves, then they'll open the door to have a relationship with you, and they can help you through life. See, that's what older people do. They have a vast wealth of knowledge, and they'll share it with you, man, if you approach them in the right fashion. And like I mentioned the video last week about mentoring. You know, you got some older gentlemen that have done things, they've seen things that I never will. And I make use of that wisdom and that knowledge to help me in my life. Can't be ungrateful, man. That just ain't gonna work. And people that's ungrateful around me, I get them away from around. Because you ain't gonna let that rub off on me. I ain't got time for that. Well, I guess I done said enough for this morning. I see everybody. Rob, what's going on? Tasha, how y'all doing? Tiffany? I see y'all, man. Appreciate y'all coming on. As always, man, we hope y'all have a wonderful and productive week. And don't let that negativity rub off on you, man. Be positive. And when you be positive, then positive things will happen to you. So y'all be easy now. Peace.